Hello, I'm Doug Lay with Abishai Tactical Solutions. A while back, my good friend Mark Gerald and I, we made a video. It was a short video about holster selection and how to carry a firearm. And I wanted to just do a follow-up, and this time I wanted to just get a little more in depth because I think this is an important subject. It's something that you don't see a lot of, not many talk about it very much, and I think there's some good information that will be helpful and hopefully help you if you're trying to choose a holster, choose how you're going to carry your firearm, especially if you're new to carrying a weapon. So let's begin. I want to talk about Kydex holsters today. And I like Kydex. I use Kydex for my everyday carry. I also like leather. I have several leather holsters. This is one that I use pretty regularly to carry my Glock 19. And so this is a holster that was made for me by Mayhem Leather Company. Mayhem Leather Company is owned by Chris Ryan. Chris is my son-in-law, and so we've worked together for a number of years making holsters. This is another one that he made for me just recently. This is a beautiful leather holster. It's actually made of Cape Buffalo, leather on the backing with Cape Buffalo. And this is an easy on, easy off style holster that has belt loops that comes in and under the belt. But we'll talk about leather in another video that I'm going to do. Today we're here to talk about Kydex. There's a lot of Kydex holster selections out there today. When I first started making these about 12 or 13 years ago, there wasn't a lot on the market at that time. You didn't have nearly the selection that you have today. And I made my first Kydex holster about 13 years ago, simply because I couldn't find a holster that I really liked. And so I dove in and I learned and I figured out how to make them. And the first few I made worked very good. But over the years I've learned a lot, and I've been making them for professionally to sell for a number of years. And so I just want to share some of the things I've learned and hopefully help you to make an informed decision when you select a Kydex holster. There's a lot of different styles of holsters you can choose from. This is one that is a Kydex outside the waistband holster, has belt loops that you loop your belt through. It's a minimalist style. Now I'm carrying today in an inside the waistband holster. This is an inside the waistband holster from G-Code. We'll start by making this firearm safe. So that's now safe, and we'll put that down. I want to show you several different styles. This holster from G-Code is an inside the waistband holster. G-Code is a company that makes a really good quality holster. I have several of their holsters I've bought over the years. This has a covering on the outside of the Kydex. This is a real nice feel. It's like a soft covering that they put on it. The G-Code holsters are a little bit pricey, but they make a good quality holster. This one comes, when I bought it, this one came with a mag pouch, and this mag pouch I'm wearing over here on this side today. The mag pouch is made with a clip. When this came, the configuration that it was in was as a sidecar. So there's an attachment that goes here, and this was mounted with the holster as a sidecar, so you would wear an appendix and have the mag right here. I wore it that way for about a week, and what I found, and several times at the range as I was going for my firearm to deploy it, my spare mag ended up on the ground just from reaching down quickly and snatching it. Obviously that's not a desirable situation. You don't want your mag falling out and coming on the ground. It has retention you can adjust, so that could be fixed, but I didn't really like it here. I like having my spare mag over here so I can just get to it quickly. It's more natural for me. So I separated it, and I'm now carrying it on that side. I'm going to do a review of this holster in a few weeks. I've been carrying it for about 3 weeks now. I like it, but I'll do a full review of it soon. So different styles, outside the waistband. Here's the minimalist style. you can see that it doesn't cover the muzzle, but it's a small footprint. A lot of people like that because it's a little more comfortable maybe than some of them that are cover the muzzle that are a little more bulky, but it does leave the muzzle exposed. The next style is one that's similar, that is flush with the muzzle. This gives some protection, but isn't quite as large a footprint as the next style that I'll show you. And the next style is this one that's a larger footprint that completely covers the muzzle. Now, this is really just a personal preference depending on what you're comfortable with, what you want to carry. I personally like this style that is flush with the muzzle. Not quite as bulky as the full size, but yet it gives some protection. So that's the one I typically choose to use when I'm carrying outside the waistband. So just a couple of different styles you can choose. All of these have the full belt loops, and so you run your belt through the belt loops, which makes it very secure on your belt. And that's a really important thing when you're carrying a firearm. You want it securely attached to your belt. We'll talk about that in a minute. Another style you can choose is this with the easy on and off clips. Now, the nice convenient thing about these is that you can pretty easily attach this to your belt without having to take your belt off and loop it through. So it attaches quickly and easily, and it's pretty secure. It holds the firearm well. Now, this is for a different gun. This is for my Browning high power. But it attaches easily. It comes off fairly easily. But the bottom line is you don't have to take your belt off to remove it or to put it on. So a lot of people like that. It's very convenient. Now, one caution about these. This clip is not as strong. You can see that it bends pretty easily. It's not as strong as the full belt loops. One reason is because the full belt loops they attach top and bottom, so it's secure. I've heard of these breaking. I've never had that problem. I've had this for maybe 4 years, and I've worn it with my Browning high power. I've never had trouble with it, but I haven't put under a lot of stress either. So I don't know if somebody going for your gun or possibly trying to take it could possibly put stress on that and cause that to break. Just something to be aware of if you choose that style. So those are several different styles for outside the waistband holsters. Inside the waistband, I showed you the G code. This is designed primarily for appendix carry, but you can carry it a little bit further. It's not really comfortable over on strong side, 3 o'clock position. I don't carry appendix. I carry between strong side 3 o'clock position and appendix. So I'd say about 2 o'clock on my belt is where I carry. That's where it's comfortable for me. It's right where my hands are hanging, and so I get to the firearm quickly and easily. So for inside the waistband, you've got that style. This is a different style, also designed for appendix carry inside the waistband, although you can carry it strong side at the 3 o'clock position or 2 o'clock, or even back behind further if you like to carry back further. I don't recommend this style for carrying 3 o'clock or further back, simply because if you're carrying that far back, what you really want is you want a little bit of forward cant. A forward cant holster, when you're carrying back, if you think about when you're reaching back to either 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock position, you're going to be coming forward when you draw the gun. So that forward cant just facilitates that forward draw. So if you're carrying that far back, get a holster that has a slight forward cant. It'll help you with your draw. These are straight up because they're designed for appendix carry right here in front. So appendix, 2 o'clock, even back to 3 o'clock, but really it's more for carrying in front. This is another version of that same type of holster with these clips. These clips are nice and easy to put on and off. They're very strong. They clip over and hold the belt, grip the belt. So those styles for inside the waistband. We have another style inside the waistband. I really don't have one of those here. There's a different style well, it's actually the same style, but you use a different clip. So this same style here that's for outside the waistband, using these belt loops on the back. The same style can also be utilized as an inside the waistband with just a different set of clips. So these clips go on the front of that same shell, and now this is an inside the waistband holster. And I have a couple of these that I carry, and they're very comfortable. They spread the weight of the gun out a little bit more than this, and they're pretty comfortable inside the waistband. So, and that's another benefit to this particular design, is you can buy both clips and then it's convertible outside or inside. So that's an option. Let's talk about paddle holsters. This is a style that some people like, the paddle holster. Again, that's easy on and off, outside the waistband. Now the difference in a paddle holster design, and I've got one here with my training gun in it. The paddle holster design is great for going to the range. I really like it because you can just put it on and have it and easy on and off. So I can do that quickly. So I like that, especially for going to the range. Now, one of the drawbacks of a paddle holster typically sits off the body a little bit further than when the gun is in this style. This style holds it closer to the body. When we make these, we conform them a little bit. We put a little bit of a curve in here so it kind of conforms to your body better, and it holds it tighter to the body. With this, it's off to the side a little bit, not as concealable as in one of these. So those are just considerations. I like a paddle holster though for going to the range because I can take it on and off easily, and I might have several guns that I'm going to use that day, so I can have several different ones in a holster that I can put on and take off without having to remove my belt. So those are different styles. Another style that many people like is what we refer to as a hybrid. This is a hybrid holster. It's a hybrid between leather and Kydex. So you have a flat piece of leather that's shaped properly. So you've got your sweat guard and you've got clips on the front. And then there's a Kydex shell that's attached to that flat piece of leather. So that goes inside the waistband and clips on your belt. Now this is a very comfortable holster. It's wide, it spreads the weight of the firearm out very well. It's very flat against your skin, so it is comfortable. One of the things about it, you will sweat with this, especially in the summertime. If you're wearing this all day, you'll sweat, and that leather with the sweat against your skin, some people find that annoying and not real comfortable. Another thing about the hybrid holsters is they don't have the same retention that you get out of one of these full Kydex holsters. The full Kydex is molded front and back to the shape of the firearm, and so you get better retention. You can also have a retention screw that you can tighten it up with. You don't have that with this style. When the leather molds to your skin, it'll hold it, and you've got the belt on it, so it's an inside the waistband, so the belt is helping to hold it. But it doesn't have the same retention that you have with a full Kydex. So those are things to consider. Very comfortable, but you've got the sweat issue as well as not quite as much retention. So those are considerations in those styles of holsters. Now, revolvers. There's another style that we make for a revolver, and we spent a lot of time trial and error in the design of this revolver holster. This is a style, take that out, that firearm's also safe. Lay that aside. This is a style that we came up with a few years ago for medium to large frame revolvers. The thing about a medium to large frame revolver is the weight. And when you put a medium or large frame revolver in a small footprint Kydex holster like this, it just doesn't carry the weight as well. It's not as comfortable. But we found this pattern holds it much better, and when if you're gonna carry all day outside the waistband, this is a design that works very well for those medium and large frame. Now for the small frame revolvers, this small footprint works very well. This is one I really like. It has the clip on this side right here, so it's flatter. Instead of putting the clip on the front, which pushes it out further, it keeps it flatter when you go inside the waistband. So that's a style that we came up with for small frame revolvers. And it's got that nice click, really holds the firearm very securely. You won't lose it from that. It's easy to draw, nice smooth draw, good solid retention. So those are some of the different styles of Kydex holsters and attachments that you can use. Let's talk about quality. And this is something that's a pet peeve of mine. I think it's really important. You want to pay close attention to the construction of the holster when you're picking out a Kydex holster. Make sure it's one that is well made. And things to look for. Look for attachments that are secure and that are well done. So, for example, this clip is attached. You have these standoffs that go inside in your hole, and the screws screw into those. But we also use, in our construction of our holsters, a metal washer. For every place we put a screw on, it goes in a metal washer. It doesn't just go against, in this case, the plastic clip, or in this case of the retention screw, head doesn't go against the Kydex. It goes against this steel washer. Now, why is that important? This retention screw, if it was just against the Kydex, anytime you tighten that screw or loosened it, or in the pressure every day of inserting that firearm and drawing, inserting and drawing, and putting it on and off, eventually that screw starts to wear through this Kydex, which is a plastic. And so a steel screw head resting against the plastic of the Kydex is going to start wearing through that. And over time, that hole will get enlarged, and you could have a breakage, you could have a malfunction, and that could break. So it's important that that steel washer is there protecting the Kydex from the screw. So it's just something to look for in the design of the holster. Another thing is, and I said this in our last video we did, look at the surface of the Kydex. Inspect it, examine it to make sure you don't have any spots where the Kydex has been burned, and you'll be able to see it if it has. When you make these, when the makers make these holsters, you have to have a heat source, and many of them will use a toaster oven, and a toaster oven works. First few holsters I ever made, I used a toaster oven to heat the Kydex. The Kydex is a flat sheet. You put it in the toaster oven. The thing about these ovens, though, is they don't heat evenly. And what you'll typically see is the flat sheet of Kydex in a toaster oven starts to curl up. The edges start to curl up. And those edges can easily burn if you don't watch it very closely. And even if you don't burn the edges, you'll have cold and hot spots in the Kydex because of the uneven heat. Those hot spots can be brittle. The burned edges will be brittle. And what I've actually seen happen myself is that edge gets brittle, you drill the hole, you put your attachment there, and eventually that breaks and your belt loop comes loose. I've actually seen that with my own eyes on several holsters, a couple holsters. So we use a heat press, just like a t-shirt press. Provides much more even heat. There's also a very narrow range of temperature that you need to use to heat Kydex, and we learned that over a number of trial and error and a lot of research, because you don't want to leave the Kydex in too long. Leaving the heat on there for too long, even if it's the right temperature range, is not good for the Kydex. It'll overbake it. So you want just the right range of heat that'll heat it quickly enough to the right temperature that it will mold well to the gun without burning and damaging the Kydex. So we use a heat press, which is much more even heat, and we know exactly what temperature to heat the Kydex at, how long, and so look for that. Another thing to look for, and I know I mentioned this last time too, And a lot of people say, well, this is just cosmetic. But look at those edges. Examine the edge of the holster. Make sure it's sanded, smooth, and polished even. And the reason I say that is if someone cares about their product, they care about the look of it, they're going to sand and polish those edges, and it just indicates an attention to detail and a commitment to quality. And if they are paying that much detail to that part of the holster, then you know that the rest of their design and construction is solid. So some things to look for. Something else, retention screw. It's always best to have a retention screw. We now put a retention screw on every one of our holsters, even our outside the waistband holsters, so that you can adjust that retention so you have a smooth draw and a secure fit. Another thing to look for, and this is something we've been doing for some time now, if you look at the mouth of that holster, you see that this juts out in the front here. So when you want to insert that firearm, you have some extra room there to insert it. And you've got that relief area there where it doesn't rub the firearm as it goes down, and it gives you a wider mouth to insert it in, just like a flared mag well when you're inserting your magazines. We came up with that design because it really helps in reholstering the firearm. You still have a good firm retention because you're formed down below here to the slide, but you have that easy wider mouth at the top to reinsert. So these are things to look for. We do that not only on our inside the waistband, but also on our outside the waistband holsters. Let's talk about mag holders. We also make mag holders at Abishai Tactical, and you always want to be carrying a spare mag. As Mark likes to say, the firstest with the mostest is the bestest. And so you want to be the first one with the most rounds on target. But having a spare mag is something that I cannot stress enough. You can never have too much ammo in a gunfight. You can have too little, but you're never going to have too much. And so you always want to have a spare mag, and you want to have it in a good mag holder. You can carry it in your pocket, but when you're needing to do a reload under stress, you want to be able to access that easily and get it. So a good mag holder, this is one with the belt loops. So if you're carrying a outside the waistband holster with belt loop, you might want a mag holder that matches it with belt loops to go on your other side. Another style, and I like this style with the clip. The nice thing about this with the clip is I can take that mag holder just as it is, and I can wear it inside the waistband this way, or I can turn it and put it outside the waistband, clips over my belt. Same mag holder, same configuration, outside or inside. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility. You want to look for a mag holder that has plenty of, you see these rivets. We've got the screw holes here and here. We've got a rivet in the center, and we've got two rivets down on the bottom. Now the reason for that is this is two pieces. This is made in two pieces, and we put them together. If you don't have enough rivets holding the perimeter of those together, you'll see separation there, and it'll get loose, and it won't hold your magazine well. So you want to make sure that your mag holder is attached properly all the way around the perimeter to hold the magazine securely. So what else? Of course, we talked last time about, and I think this particular holster I showed it to you last time, this is one of those cheap universal holsters. You've also got the cheap, excuse me, you've got the cheap nylon holsters. Now, some of you commented on my humor, or lack of humor, I guess, last time, because I said a holster that's made for any gun is not made for any gun. It doesn't fit any gun. And so I believe that. I think you want a holster that holds the firearm securely, that is molded to the firearm. And that's important. Also one that attaches securely to your belt. Think about this. any choice you make to carry a firearm is a compromise. And here's what I mean by that. If I'm in a gunfight, where do I want to be carrying my firearm? Where do I want it? I want it right here, engaging the threat. So ideally, I would be carrying my firearm at the high ready position all the time. But if you walk into the grocery store like this, and you're walking around looking at people pointing your gun at them, you're going to cause quite a stir. So we can't really carry in the ideal position, the high ready position. We have to carry in a holster. We're going to conceal our firearm so nobody knows we have it. And so any place you carry, anything short of carrying it like this is a compromise, right? So make the smallest compromise you can make. Don't compromise the important things. Carrying is a trade-off between comfort, concealability, and the ability to access the firearm quickly and go to work with it. So those are the things you need to consider in your choice of carry position and selection of a holster. It's why I like to carry right here, holster, firearm, mag, spare mag. That way I can get the firearm quickly, deploy it, go to work with it, reholster easily, get to my spare mags. This is where I carry. Now that's a personal choice, and you have to decide what's best for you, but make a choice that makes the least compromise. Comfort, so that you'll carry all day, because the gun in your car or at home is not going to help you. Concealability, you have to have it concealed. But most importantly, carry in a way that you can access the firearm, deploy it, and go to work. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's been informative. Leave us some feedback, make some comments. I'll put a link below to the Mayhem Leather website, so you can check out the leather holsters there, and be looking for another video on leather holsters coming soon, as well as I'm going to do a review of this G-code inside the waistband holster. I think it's a great product, but I do want to do a full review of it, and I'll do that soon and post it, so be looking for that. I hope you find these videos helpful. Our goal at Abishai Tactical is just to provide the very best training that we can provide, and to provide information so people can make informed decisions. So I hope this has been helpful. As always, I want to leave with this: God loves you. As Mark likes to say, you're the apple of God's eye. Don't forget that. God bless.